Okay, welcome to the Olive Branch, the podcast where two siblings from a small southern town in the heart of the Bible Belt, the Rocket City, Huntsville, Alabama, try to bridge the gap between left and right America.
Or at least avoid strangling each other while trying. I'm Audra, I'm your left-wing host. I'm a wife, intentionally childless, liberal, atheist, socialist, communist, and unemployed but a caretaker for our mother.
And I'm Eric, your right-wing host, a husband, father, conservative, born-again Christian, and proud engine nerd with multiple engineering degrees. I spent multiple decades leading adult Sunday school, missional communities, life groups, small groups, connecting people to God, teaching from God's holy word.
And I've spent over 2 decades as a dungeon master, guiding heroes through the mystical realms of Dungeons and Dragons. And I have numerous credits at a local community college.
Hey, that counts. So yeah, between the preacher and the heathen,
The Bible and the battle mat.
we've got absolutely no qualifications to be sharing political opinions with the masses.
But we're gonna do it anyway.
Let's do this already.
Oh yeah.
Okay, what are we talking about today?
I actually know very little about what we're talking about. This is something you wanted to do, and I thought it would make me sad, so I never even watched it. I'll just
Well-
watch it live and get sad here.
I actually feel a little sad. So let me tell you what I picked. I guess if you're watching this, you already know because it's on the title. But this is Pete Hegseth, our Secretary of War. He did a big speech on September 30th, 2025, to all the senior leadership of the Department of War. So this is all the top generals, admirals of all of our War Department. And it's about a 45-minute speech or something, so I thought we could listen to it, understand the pivotable trajectory of the department and what's going on, what's the focus, what's the new mindset, what's the new protocol, how are they rolling. We have a new regime with the Trump administration, and this is part of his cabinet. So wanted to see about what's the focus, what's the priorities, and what are our thoughts on it.
So you just said we have a new regime. I only hear regime when it's talking about like a totalitarian, evil dictatorship. I think administration's the word we usually use, because when you said that, I was like, regime sounds evil. Do we always call it regime? Have we called it anything? And I was like, what's the term? Like, it wasn't the Biden regime.
I didn't mean to trigger you. Do you have other sensitivities that we need to take care of? How can I pamper you?
I have one thing from a previous video I wanted to ask you about that kind of has to do with this.
What?
And it's similar to the regime and the administration kerfluffle.
Yeah.
So, when we talked about war crimes, you were particular to say it's not murder, it's killing.
Yeah.
But during abortion, it wasn't medical care, it was murder.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
How come?
Oh, gosh. So, you're calling it medical care because I guess the focus is solely on the mom.
Or sometimes the baby is non-viable or dead and they just have to get the baby out.
Okay, but that's by definition
An
not...
abortion.
It's not.
It is.
That is a miscarriage, which is not an abortion.
The removal of the baby is still called an abortion, which is what people are like, you can't ban abortion.
I don't think so. We can do a fact check real time. Abortion, the root word is abort, so it means to stop the trajectory. If the child passes in miscarriage, if it dies on its own fruition, then it's not an abortion, it's a miscarriage.
Let's look it up, because that term does mean to remove.
And we're looking it up right now.
Beep. Back online.
Okay, what did you find out?
They are both the medical procedure of D&C, which is dilation and curettage, the surgical procedure to empty the uterus. So that is for an abortion or an incomplete miscarriage.
Yeah. So we can get into a word Olympics. I think the main thing that we need to do is back the train up and go, what is the intent? I'll say this, representing the right wing. it's all about preservation of life and trying to ensure the safety of a living being inside the womb. So if there's a natural miscarriage, if the child dies on its own, and you do a procedure to clean out the womb, there is no objection to that in any stretch of the imagination on the right wing. The only thing they care about is if the child is healthy, and you come in and intentionally stop and kill the child. That's the right wing's position. So if anybody gets confused over the legalese and terminology, nobody on the right, as far as I know, nobody on the right objects to, hey, you had a miscarriage, and then doing the DNC after that. That is considered health care and medical care, and that is endorsed. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, it is a weird nuance, and I feel the tension on in war calling it a killing and not murder. It almost sounds like trying to justify death at war, and I guess it is. Because in general, I think we all want peace. We all want no war. One of the things that Pete Hegseth, our Secretary of War, is going to say is peace through strength. Essentially, having such a dominating military that nobody wants to mess with you. Essentially, so there are no wars. That's a strategy, and it's been working for America for a long time. I don't know. But I definitely see a distinction between actually going to attack a fellow civilian and taking their life versus, hey, I'm part of the military, representing my nation, representing my country. There's some sort of political thing going on with another country. We have to go and fight. It's just totally different. But it's still bad. I mean, I don't think anybody wants it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's. So one, as far as doing this, we were talking about, hey, what's something hot, heavy, something interesting, something that has teeth that we could grab onto to talk about that is, relevant. Mm-hmm. And so I came up with this, and so I do feel sad. I do feel bad for you because
fine.
I know a lot of his content that he's going to say is not going to be very well received on the left side. So I admire your willingness to participate in this. I actually feel your pain a little bit. Got a little bit of empathy. It's hurting my heart a little bit for, because this guy lays it out. He's like a Nick Saban from coaching Alabama at football. I mean, it makes me want to get up and tackle somebody in a good way.
You got to quit talking about tackling people in this podcast.
Yeah.
It's come up like 3 times. It's almost as consistent as us crying.
Hey, I can't run away from my high school football days. That was something that's just a good memory. Good.
Oh, now that you're healthy now and your knees work, you're like,
yeah.
oh, let's tackle everybody? Whatever.
True. Okay. All right. So we just get it started. Go ahead and hit play.
Yes. So there's that. It's going. He'll talk soon.
Well, Mr. Chairman, the Joint Chiefs, generals, admirals, commanders, officers, senior enlisted, NCOs, enlisted, and every member of our American military, good morning.
I wasn't included in that.
Good morning,
Hey, we ain't talking
and welcome to the War Department. They deserve peace, and they rightfully expect us to deliver it.
Preach it.
Our number one job, of course, is to be strong so that we can prevent war in the first place.
Peace through
The
strength.
president talks about it all the time. It's called peace through strength. And as history teaches us, the only people who actually deserve peace are those who are willing to wage war to defend it. That's
I disagree.
Yeah, it seems like a stretch. Those who deserve peace. I think what he means is you have to earn it. It's not something that's happenstance. It's not just oh, you just happen to have peace. You have to be intentional to preserve peace, to make sure that it happens, and you do that by intentionally having a very strong military to make sure people intentionally avoid you. I think of it like let's talk about football again. I'm not even an Alabama fan. I'm a Auburn fan, but
Yes.
I grew up an Alabama fan, and we all know Alabama's. This year actually, Indiana took it to them, but Alabama is just known for having a dominant college football team. And Nick Saban, he's the GOAT. He's retired, but we all know he's the GOAT.
I was gonna say I heard that they did bad because Saban retired.
Maybe because he's a legacy. But there's a schedule each year, and they play specific teams at specific dates. That's just how a football schedule works. What if it was, hey, you just stayed at your football stadium and people showed up to play you? How many people would actually dare walk up to the stadium and say, yeah, let's get on the field? I bet a lot of teams would say, I ain't touching that team. There's a few that would maybe challenge them, but it would be a few, and that's the whole deal. You want people to be so intimidated to face you that nobody does. So it's a legit strategy.
I was thinking of similar countries that don't have the huge military to keep people from messing with them, but people like, I thought of Norway and Canada, and then I thought, especially with Canada being like our neighbor, like I wonder if they have the drug problems we do.
Yeah, Canada, I think, has the most affordable military you can get. It's called the United States Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. Because we're a sister country, we pretty much preserve their nation.
Do you think they get like the drug issues we have?
That's I have no idea.
Yeah,
Totally
I'd have
different.
to look into that.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going.
Should our enemies choose foolishly to challenge us, they will be crushed by the violence, precision, and ferocity of the War Department. In other words, to our enemies, F-A-F-O. If necessary, our troops can translate that for you. Another way to put it is peace through strength, brought to you by the warrior ethos. And we are restoring both.
Pause.
As President...
What's interesting is on the screen where I got this video off YouTube, it says this is an unscripted speech. And that really surprises me because I think he's extremely articulate and he's very comprehensive, very thorough. I mean, he covers so many topics and he speaks to them very well. Either he's just a gifted speaker or he rehearsed the heck out of this. I don't know. So it's just he's probably the most articulate Secretary of War, Secretary of Defense, whatever you want to say, that I've ever witnessed.
Recall?
Yeah, that I can recall. Yeah. Let's keep going.
President Trump has said, and he's right, we have the strongest, most powerful, most lethal, and most prepared military on the planet. That is true, full stop. Nobody can touch us. It's not even close.
We also spend 7 times more than the next country on military.
True. I didn't know it was 7 times.
I think it's 7 times the next country.
That makes sense. So yeah.
We need better hobbies.
Keep going.
Our enemies get a vote. You feel it, I feel it. This is a moment of urgency, mounting urgency. Enemies gather, threats grow. There is no time for games. We must be prepared. If we're going to prevent and avoid war, we must prepare now.
I'm assuming he gets into it. Does he talk about who these enemies are?
Like specific current modern day enemies?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
So he's just alluding there is a boogeyman, and we're going to be the best at beating up said boogeyman once we get him.
You see, this urgent moment, of course, requires more troops, more munitions, more drones, more Patriots, more submarines, more B-21 bombers. It requires more innovation, more AI in everything.
We already spend 7 times more than any other country. I don't think we need more, per se. We just need to use them and not give them to the police to justify making new ones.
A lot of this stuff is old, very, very old, many decades old, and could be upgraded to modern technology. So that's just what he's alluding to.
The moment requires restoring and refocusing our defense industrial base, our shipbuilding industry, and onshoring all critical components. It requires, as President Trump has done, getting our allies and partners to step up and share the burden. America cannot do everything.
I don't know of any partners that he's rallied together.
Okay.
Likewise, the nature of the threats we face in our hemisphere and in deterring China is another speech for another day.
So he's mentioning China.
Coming soon.
And I thought he would.
If I've learned one core lesson in my 8 months in this job, it's that personnel is policy. Personnel is policy. The best way to take care of troops is to give them good leaders committed to the warfighting culture of the department. Not perfect leaders, good leaders. Competent, qualified, professional, agile, aggressive, innovative, risk-taking, apolitical, faithful to their oath and to the Constitution. We have a sacred duty to ensure that our warriors are led by the most capable and qualified combat leaders. This is one thing you and I can control. And we owe it to the force to deliver it. For too long, we have simply not done that. The military has been forced by foolish and reckless politicians to focus on the wrong things. In many ways, this speech is about fixing decades of decay. Some of it obvious, some of it hidden. Or as the chairman has put it, we are clearing out the debris, removing the distractions, clearing the way for leaders to be leaders. You might say we're ending the war on warriors. I heard someone wrote a book about that.
I bet he did.
For too long, we've promoted too many uniformed leaders for the wrong reasons. Based on their race, based on gender quotas, based on historic so-called firsts.
I just want to say, as far as promoting people for DEI reasons,
Yeah.
I like examples.
What do you mean?
I'd like for him to say, I think Colin Powell was hired because he was black, not because he was the best at the job.
No, somebody like Colin Powell or what was the other lady that was a black lady? Man, she was so good.
Condoleezza Rice?
Yeah.
I don't know how I found that in my head.
Wow, I don't either. But people like them, they were full merit. Like nobody's gonna say. I can't imagine anybody saying that hey, their race had something to do with it. Now somebody like Kamala Harris, you'll have a plethora of people step forward and go, she was obviously picked by Joe Biden to be the vice president because of her race and gender. It wasn't because of her accomplishments. So that's the whole point. And that's what all he's focusing on here is merit based. He's not against races. He's not against genders. He's just saying that does not help us kill people who are our enemies, who are trying to attack our nation. He wants us to have the strongest football team. Mm-hmm. And regardless of gender, regardless of race, you just better be the best football player. Except he doesn't play football. He plays war. And he wants war fighters. Mm-hmm. And so that's all he's saying is we've had all these distracting priorities, making sure we get the first black person, female lady. All these are accomplishments that don't accomplish the goal of the Department of War. That's all he's saying. and it makes sense.
I just don't know how accurate that is, and I would like stats of these are hires that happened because of DEI, and we know these 3 people did not get the job because, give me one example where it actually was an issue.
Yeah.
And not just say this is an issue because doesn't it feel right in your heart? It could be an issue.
Yeah, I mean,
Picture it didn't happen.
I think recently with the furlough and then the shutdown and then the air traffic, there were some air traffic controllers, and then I think there's been a few pilots. So they looked at that in the pilot world. Mm-hmm. But to get the data that you're wanting, do you know how arduous and painful that would be?
I feel like he has the resources.
No. Not to get the data, but how painful it would be to present the data. Because essentially you're getting a spotlight and shining it on people who are put into a position not on merit, but on DEI policy.
Yeah.
Well, it's embarrassing. It's horrible. It's, hey, you're not qualified to be in the position.
I think this snowflake's okay with hurting feelings. I don't think Hegseth has an issue with it, and it's not the person who got hired is at fault.
But nobody will see it that way. All the focus and attention will be on the reality. You're in a position that you're not qualified for. So anyway.
Well, I would like even more than.
Yeah.
They could have done better than that. How are they not working out? Why did the person have instructions above them to hire them for reasons of race or gender? Yeah. And then these are 3 people that applied for the same position and didn't get it, and this person messed up. Like, I want any...
Yeah. Well, we can... I don't think we've done it. We can definitely have a DEI... Deep dive where we kind of hit the pros and cons of that type of policy and how it shook out. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
All right, coming your way.
This administration has done a great deal from day one to remove the social justice, politically correct, and toxic ideological garbage that had infected our department, to rip out the politics. No more identity months, DEI offices, dudes in dresses.
I think this is my spectrum showing.
Okay. Your spectrum? What is it?
I dabble.
Does that mean you're autistic?
A little bit. And
my wife says that I have what did you say, baby?
You're on the spectrum.
Yeah, but what am I?
You have Asperger's.
Yeah, she says I have Asperger's, but sometimes she mispronounces that to something else. It starts with an AS. She says I have that disease. Anyway, go ahead.
No, I think it's my spectrum showing. I can't take... Yeah, there's a bunch of bad people doing stuff, and that's why we got to do A, B, and C. I'm going to have to stop you. I need names of who they are, what are we talking about, and what are they doing that's bad. And this is like the next example of, okay, guys in dresses and DEI, and when has that been an issue? Who...
That's a funny statement.
All the child molesters in the army, we got to stop them. Like, when has it been an issue? Who was the issue? When did it happen? Who's been complaining?
Wow. That's a very interesting blind spot.
I need to know.
It's an issue for, I want to say, everybody on the right. It's madness. It's chaos.
Unless you want to bang somebody, it doesn't matter what they have in their pants. And if they're out of uniform, they don't have to be in uniform. So quit thinking about other people's junk and let them live their life. And if they're a performing soldier, who cares if they wear a dress?
Yeah. It's just, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know when any of this has been an issue for the military. I'm sure there's been like a small group, but like an overall thing where the leader of the Department of War has to do a speech about we got to stop these guys in dresses. I don't know. I don't know when it was a problem. I need examples.
Yeah.
But
I can't speak firsthand. I'm not in the military, and so I don't have that experience. I can see how this is just madness. It's crazy. But we can do the whole transgender discussion and gender dysphoria and talk about all the perspectives, different ways to look, interpret, engage, and interact with that. But that's a totally separate beast that he's covering a myriad of topics. So there's no way to fully address all of everything that falls under the umbrella of woke.
There's a line from The Talented Mr. Ripley that I love. A detective comes from America to Italy to solve a crime, and he's like, in America, we're taught to check a fact before it becomes a fact. And then he goes on to talk about if a woman, throws herself in the river, you find out if she was pregnant, or this and that. And that's just in my heart. Like, I don't take things as fact without facts. So telling me about all the boogeymen and all our enemies around the world and then all our military allies that have stepped up, like, I'd like one name.
Yeah. So
and that's probably a me problem. Like I said, it's my spectrum showing.
No. So I can feel your pain, and I can also be baffled by your perspective at the same time. So I've got all kinds of mixed emotions from this. One, I'm an engineer, so as an engineer, same thing. I essentially, dealing with the design of Department of War weapon systems. If something breaks, if something fails, you do a root cause corrective action analysis. That's what you do. So root cause, you go to how did this break? What are the failure modes? And then what corrective action will fix that? And when you do that corrective action and introduce that, does that create new failure modes? So all of that's a nerdy way of saying everything you just said.
Yeah.
However, what I think you're missing that I naturally see that's kind of invisible here is a hierarchy. This is a hierarchy. This is not he's kind of presenting this as a pep talk sales pitch, but it's not really a sales pitch. He ain't selling anybody. He's giving guidance. He's giving direction. There's a hierarchy here. So you have President Trump, who's the commander-in-chief, President of the United States. He's the commander-in-chief. He's over everything. Okay, he's the Secretary of War. He's over all of the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard. Everything falls underneath him. He's speaking to multiple 1, 2, 3-star generals. These people are so high up. They give general guidance. There is no, hey, let me convince you of this. Oh, you didn't quite get it? Here, let me stop. Let me pause. Let me try to substantiate this and get your buy-in. There is no, let me get your buy-in. You do that research on your own. You figure that out. This is the marching orders. And you do say yes, sir. Yeah. And you do start marching. And if you don't, you can tap. You can tap out. But this is where we're marching. This is the speed we're marching. And if you can't keep up, you need to fall out of line. So I appreciate the hierarchy here. And I don't know, in our day and age, in our culture, I think that's something that's been kind of, it's waned, it's tapered off. There's not much natural respect or appreciation for authority or for hierarchy. Separate topic, like people that antagonize police officers when they pull them over, and won't roll down their window, and they know the law probably 10 times better than that police officer. And I don't know, that just hurts my heart. It's so disrespectful. They may be legally right, but I can't stand the disrespect that's embedded in that to a fellow human being who's trying to protect our community. And yes, some of them are turds. Some of them have bad attitudes. Sometimes they abuse their authority. Most positions of power have tendency to corrupt the person who's so small or shallow that can't handle it.
Yeah.
So it is a challenge for people to step into those roles. It's tough. So anyway, he's the Secretary of War. He ain't selling anybody. He's giving guidance. This is what we're doing.
And in his defense, or the defense of people that do follow it, if I paid attention to news throughout the week, I might already know some of these things that he's referring to. But back to what you said about being an engineer and like the mechanics of why things fail.
Yeah.
If you told your boss, yeah, it was mostly the dudes in dresses. I just, that's why this machine broke. It's like, no. It's one adult told another adult to do something, and either that instruction was wrong or they didn't do it. People wearing a dress doesn't matter. People having a skin color doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a weird red herring for a problem.
Yeah.
Unless it's been a problem, and then I would like to know about it.
I mean, I think it's, you know, I don't know that there's exact studies and data and numbers and then some, I mean, because all this is very subjective. You know, essentially he's saying this has taken a hit to morale. Now, since this has come out, I'm trying to think of a tangible data set that would prove your point. Because what he's saying is this has taken a hit to morale. People don't feel strong. It's subjective.
Yeah.
But since he's taken office, since the Trump administration has come in, and the regime, and then, you know, Pete Hegseth, and with this mantra, I think one thing that could be show that this is helping is the recruitment numbers. Look at the recruitment numbers, say under Biden, as we and then look at the recruitment numbers now under Trump and Pete Hegseth. I think you'll see a huge ramp up.
Because my son is no more important than any other American citizen who dons the cloth of our nation. He is no more important than your son. All precious souls made in the image and likeness of God.
What?
I don't think he should bring up God in his speech.
What does it say on the $1 bill?
Yeah, it got put in there when we were trying. That's part of the problem. It got put in there because of.
You think God is the problem?
No, I think talking about God in a country where not everyone believes in that God or the same God is divisive, and it lowers morale. So if you know he's talking about a different God and you're religious, then you feel othered. You feel that's a divisive thing in morale. Do you think people who believe in God need to have it?
Yeah, that's a deep topic.
Yeah.
The short answer is, it exposes the reality that we have different worldviews, and I'm a Christian, so I advertise myself to be a born again Christian. What does that mean? I'm born again. I'm born into the family of God. I have a physical birth, and then I've been born again. That's what that phrase means. I've been born spiritually into the family of God. I'm a child of God. I don't believe all human beings are children of God. All human beings are creation of God. But to be a child of God, you have to be born again. The deal is, if you, and I remember before I believed in God, it's just a life or lifestyle of, it's either, would you say, nihilism, where nothing matters, or it's just a very selfish, self-centered thing. What's in it for me at the cost of whoever else? When you shift that and understand that there's a God, there's a creator, a maker, a Lord, a Savior, it's just a totally different worldview. Your priorities are totally rebooted. And then you're living life and you're seeing life through a different lens.
I would say I don't have the first two worldviews that you do, which maybe you did, or maybe most people, people that have God now had those and then don't. But I don't know that is the default for most humans or every human.
Okay. I would say and you're talking specifically about being selfish, self-centered, or nihilistic? Mm-hmm. Okay. I would say
everyone has percentages of those, but
Yeah.
I don't think that's like the default majority of every person,
Okay, I would say it is. We'd have to do some sort of weird study on that. But all of this to say is it's very important to know that's how we're coming across this. That we're coming out this across we're making this path to honor God, and in the Christian sense, to honor God, you do that by loving others. So it's intentionally being considerate to the well-being. So probably from what you're voicing, you have that same agenda to love others, to be considerate of others, to be empathetic, compassionate. You want, essentially, you probably want equality of outcome. That's another topic. I would say I want equality of opportunity, and knowing that not everybody is going to take advantage of those opportunities. Equality of outcome is impossible, but that can be a whole nother topic. But I don't know. So to me, it's helpful to know somebody is coming. They're acknowledging God, acknowledging the presence of God, and that's what Scripture tells us to do: acknowledge God, acknowledge His presence, and respond accordingly to honor Him. And how do you do that? You love God by loving others. So to see that voiced is encouraging to me. I can see if you're a non-believer, if you don't believe in God,
believe a different,
or have another faith, that it feels like you've been segregated.
Do you think if he said "Hail Satan"?
Oh yeah, there's no way it'd be a revolt.
Yeah. So,
but that's the enemy of God. What's the enemy of atheism? I mean, Jesus or God is not the enemy. It's not your enemy.
Yeah.
I challenge you. I've challenged you before. I'll do it here on the show. Study Jesus. Do a deep dive on Jesus. You will find you're a big fan. You're a big fan.
I'm aware of them.
Okay, well, don't be aware. Know him.
But
there's a psalm that's one of my favorites, and it's actually listed twice in the Psalms. I'll let you look it up. But it says, "The Lord looks down from heaven upon all the earth. Are there any who understand? Are there any who seek after God?" Essentially, God wants us to seek after Him. Wants us to pursue Him, to ponder, to contemplate, to live by faith. Faith is like a muscle. You got to exercise it for it to grow. You actually got to tread life seeking God. So this is part of the process. I mean, it's just part of the process. So
what if he said "Praise Allah"? Do you think?
Oh yeah, we got huge issues. Yeah. So what's funny is Islam, Muslim, all this traces back to Old Testament.
Yeah, I was gonna
Old
say they're
Covenant.
actually talking about the same God. It's just different spin-offs of the same religion.
Yeah, we're not going to solve that one today, but it's a spin-off, and it's different.
So it
And
would
is
feel
a different
divisive
God.
if he praised Allah.
Oh yeah, extremely. Yeah, so I get that and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So it would make issue, but just keeping it real, you're talking about like say a Muslim sect, but we are known and advertised as a Christian nation.
Inaccurate.
All right, well, that's another topic. All right, add that to the topic. We'll talk about our founding fathers, their faith in God, and Christianity.
They fled to get rid of the Christian nation.
They they didn't want a king demanding, I guess, that. So it's not. We don't have freedom of our separation of church and state, it's not freedom from religion, it's freedom of religion. So we should have the freedom to do all, but you also look at the obvious, the majority. What is the majority practice? At least historically, it was Christianity. So anyway, we can talk about that going forward.
The new War Department golden rule is this: do unto your unit as you would have done unto your own child's unit. Would you want him serving with fat or unfit or undertrained troops? Or alongside people who can't?
I like that this is assuming your child's not the fat or undertrained, but again, this is a problem. I don't know if it exists.
Yeah, so he's Department of War. He's talking about soldiers. He's talking about people who do combat. So yeah,
they have combat training. They have meetings or metrics they have to meet.
Yeah, right. Well, that's what he's.
So if they've been letting them slack,
no, you're saying the same thing he's saying then.
Yeah, I don't know that it's a problem. He's just
no, and that's what he's exposing is the standards have been reduced and lowered over the last several decades to accommodate, to make sure we get numbers. We need to get women in here. We need to get a certain race in here. We need to do DEI type stuff.
Can I tell you the thing about the Mormon that I told you this reminds me of?
Okay, go ahead.
And I haven't fact checked it. This is, I believe it's accurate, but to my knowledge,
it should be entertaining either way. Go.
To my knowledge, the Mormon Church, I want to say in like the 80s or 90s, decided being black was no longer a sin because their numbers were so low they wanted to fold in people of color. Whereas up until that point, they would say, oh, if you're black, I can't think of the names. It's like Methodite, Neanderthite. One sounds like Neanderthal, and it basically means indigenous people or Native Americans.
Yeah.
And they are of sin because of the color of their skin.
Wow.
But in the 70s to 90s, somewhere around there, they decided, we were just kidding. Black people are fine. They're also human, and we would love their tithing, please. And recently, they're having to be like, how strong are we on this gay thing? Because apparently 70% of 10-year-olds think that they are polyamorous or, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if everybody now is fluid sexually...
Yeah.
How strong are we on that? Can we rein that in? Because we need the numbers and we need the tithing. And I feel like he is like not going to be having this recruitment pool.
Yeah.
If he's
so, I'm not Mormon.
Me either.
I can't speak from the Mormon Church. Unfortunately, if that is a legit example, something to know. Not all people of faith, people in the church, even in church leadership or even in a pastoral position, sometimes you have a wolf in sheep's clothing, and they step forward to represent a certain sect of society or religion, and they are a fringe. They are not the norm, the common. So if you see somebody in the religious world, a person of faith that has grave sin or just horrible person, they are called to be an ambassador of Christ. That is what part of the Christian faith, but some do a very poor job, very poor. So it's sad. Anyway, let's keep going.
Can't meet basic standards, or in a unit where standards were lowered so certain types of troops could make it in a unit where leaders were promoted for reasons other than merit, performance, and war fighting? The answer is not just no, it's hell no. This means at the War Department, first and foremost, we must restore a ruthless, dispassionate, and common sense application of standards. I don't want my son serving alongside troops who are out of shape, or in combat unit with females who can't meet the same combat arms physical standards as men, or troops who are not fully proficient on their assigned weapons, platform, or task, or under a leader who was the first, but not the best. Standards must be uniform, gender neutral, and high.
Oh, it's when people make fun of millennials and Gen Z and all that for, oh, they don't know how to drive a stick shift, they can't read cursive, they can't read analog clocks,
Yeah.
they can't change their own tire.
Yeah.
Do you know who was supposed to teach them that?
Parents. Yeah.
So it's not the person not meeting the standard that's the problem, which I guess, and if I think of it that way, if this is the CEO talking to a bunch of his supervisors, like, you guys have been lowering the criteria and I need you to bring it back up because we would rather have quality than quantity. But I guess like the thing that like offends me or gives me pushback is it sounds like he's saying it's their fault.
Yeah.
When it's not. If they're meeting all the standards that they were given,
Yeah.
they're nailing it.
So let me extend an olive branch, symbolic olive branch, because I don't have anything in my hand, to you. I agree. It sounds like you're judging, criticizing, condemning a whole generation, when really the parents should have helped guide them and steer them in the right direction too. I'm actually, you're giving me, I'm relating to a book that I'm listening to, an audiobook called Bad Therapy. And it's really about parenting and how parents don't do the hard rigor of parenting, which means correction, accountability, training. Almost, it needs to lean more towards a militaristic Pete Hegseth style. Instead, where the last couple of decades, it's been more, how can I be your best friend? How can I understand your emotions? How can I soften your emotions? You're uncomfortable in this situation due to this clothing being a little too itchy. You don't like this challenge in this course at school or with this sport. How can I shield you from the pain of all that? How can I make your life more comfortable? As you know, that sounds good. It sounds appealing. It sounds compassionate, and I think it has held them back from being the best human they can be. What they needed to be is, hey, shake it off, figure it out. Yeah, but I believe in you. When I say figure it out, embedded in that, it sounds callous, it sounds cold, but it also says, I believe in you.
Yeah.
You can do this. Not, oh, you can't overcome this. I have to shield you from this. I have to get you special treatment in this class, or I have to give you an accommodation so you don't have to do what everybody else is doing because I believe you can't do it.
Yeah.
To me, that's different. But subconsciously, or maybe even consciously, they know my parents don't believe in me. I have limits. I have a ceiling where I can't excel above. I need special accommodation. So, anyway, I think you're right.
It's on the authority, not the...
Yeah. So, hey, let's shift. Let's adjust. Let's challenge. Especially challenging kids within the safety of living with us, in our home front. So, anyway, that's probably a whole nother topic we need to talk about. Parenting. Let's do it.
Frankly, it's tiring to look out at combat formations, or really any formation, and see fat troops. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon and leading commands around the country and the world. It's a bad look. It is bad, and it's not who we are.
Statistically, it is who we are because America has like the highest levels of obesity. But
True.
I understand what he's saying.
No, and we should probably do a Maha video, Make America Healthy Again. Oh, actually, we did. Totally agree.
Simply put, if you do not meet the male-level physical standards for combat positions, cannot pass a PT test, or don't want to shave and look professional, it's time for a new position.
I'm curious because he mentioned a few times that the physical standard would be the male. So I'm assuming any female or non-binary or whatever people would have to also hit that standard for physicality.
Yeah.
If he's talking about shaving your and keeping your hair short or whatever, I'm wondering if the female officers and stuff have to have short hair.
Ooh, that's interesting. I have no idea.
Of course, being a racist has been illegal in our formation since 1948. The same goes for sexual harassment. Both are wrong and illegal. Those kinds of infractions will be ruthlessly enforced. But telling someone to shave or get a haircut or to get in shape or to fix their uniform or to show up on time or to work hard, that's exactly the kind of discrimination we want. These directives are designed to take the monkey off your back and put you, the leadership, back in the driver's seat. Move out with urgency because we have your back.
I think you can enforce stuff respectfully without bullying or hazing or walking on eggshells. And I don't like the kind of implication that we're going to stop the complainers, we're going to stop people. So it's like, so now you can be mean without merit, or, you know, or like.
My quick comment is I'm not military, but I sense this in our culture big time, and I can see how it's saturated the military as well. But our culture has been, it's a victim mentality, and victims are glorified. If you step forward and say, hey, I was harassed, hey, I was bullied, hey, I was pushed aside for whatever reason, hey, I'm not being treated fairly, our culture celebrates that. They like to cancel anybody associated with them becoming a victim. So if either in the military or even in our employment as a citizen, it's the same thing. Hey, I'm discriminated. Hey, I'm going to file a complaint. I'm going to do this, and then the supervisor may be unjustly criticized, or the military leader, whether it's a captain, major, whoever. If they're not supported, if they're not endorsed by leadership, if they're just always going to buckle to, hey, this person is crying because of this, if they don't support the leader, you're going to get good leaders who know they're not supported, who will not be leaders. They will step out. And then these people who are really problem children, not all of them, some have legit case. Some, hey, they really have a problem that needs to be addressed. But there's some people who just want to find a problem and and then criticize the leader when they're creating problems. Because our culture has honored that, has glorified that, and it's a weird dynamic. And he's saying enough of that. I don't think he said it yet, but I think he's about to say, if our if the captain grabs your shirt and says we're going to freaking do this, it's okay. He can grab you. He can touch you. Yeah. That didn't hurt you.
Yeah.
Quit acting like the world has ended because of that. No, that's acceptable. It's fine. We're gonna address real problems, not made up problems.
Yeah.
And it's. I think this is a step in the right direction. Yeah. So.
I feel like it's the pendulum coming back.
Yeah, and it is. Yeah.
But yeah, the military and police officer, like the culture, is very thought control, kind of like cult tactics of behavior control, uniformity, identity. So you can't have a lot of wiggle room for people to voice concerns or complaints, but you got to make sure you don't go to either extreme.
Yeah, and unfortunately, of what I've seen, the response to any extreme is usually the opposite extreme.
The pendulum. Yeah.
It swings off. If you're veering off in the ditch, usually the response is let's hard yank, and you end up going to the other side of the ditch. It's hard to get it right back in the middle of the road. Because when you're going off in the ditch, what happens? You freak out, you're scared, and you yank it hard. And this is the yank hard.
Yeah.
And so I guess the challenge is, can we yank back but get it right back in the sweet spot?
Yeah.
Or are we going to veer off into the other side of the ditch?
Yeah.
So legit concern. Yeah.
I have your back, and the Commander-in-Chief has your back. And when we give you this guidance, we know mistakes will be made. It's the nature of leadership. but you should not pay for earnest mistakes for your entire career. And that's why today, at my direction, we're making changes to the retention of adverse information on personnel records that will allow leaders with forgivable, earnest, or minor infractions to not be encumbered by those infractions in perpetuity. People make honest mistakes, and our mistakes should not define an entire career.
Pause.
Otherwise, we only try not to make mistakes.
Yeah. So essentially, he's saying he's dissolving the cancel culture movement, at least in the military. One strike, you're out. Hey, if you make a mistake, that's something you shouldn't have done, but you learn from it.
I don't know if I heard him say this or if I took it this way. He made it sound like things would fall off your record if you had, like, he called them earnest, mistakes or what have you. I don't think they should fall out of your jacket, but I think the people in positions of power should just know nuance.
Yeah, and maybe I didn't hear him correctly, but I just thought it would not permanently keep you from elevating to the top. So it wasn't a disqualifier, but maybe I just processed it.
Yeah, and I don't know if I misprocessed it.
I definitely think it shouldn't just go away. I think it's good to have things on your record just to know, hey, here's a blip from X years ago, but people can take that into context.
Yeah.
It was X years ago. You're a new person. You're a better person. You're smarter for it. In some cases, I could easily make an argument you're even more qualified for this position because you went through this learning experience.
Yeah.
You faced the consequences of that choice, and you understand it you understand it. It's not academic. It's not something you read and go, okay, that's what happens when this happens next. No, you felt the full measure of it, the pain, the everything. So it's more real to you.
It's a pro for DEI. That what you just said.
Okay.
Is having people from different walks of life, different economic backgrounds, different social backgrounds, different cultures. They experience stuff that a monogamous vanilla group of the same type of people may not have exposure to. So it's like the technology for face recognition was all done by white dudes in Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
And it can't recognize black people because they just didn't think to test that.
Yeah.
Oh, look, it knows Hank versus Fred. Anyways, my point of contention was most of his stuff is no exceptions, no personal, which I get. That's very much the indoctrination of military and stuff is fall in line, wipe away your personality, you're not an individual, you're part of the masses, you do what we say. And I get that mentality. But then to say the thing about the COVID-19 vaccine and people losing their job over it, it's like, I thought that's what we were just talking about we wanted to do is make everyone fall in line and do what you're told. And the military has to get all kinds of vaccines. So
yeah, my understanding, he's saying, hey, in hindsight's 2020, shame on Department of War for making that weird science project mandated to all its military, and then instilling the punitive measures for noncompliance to include relief of duty, no benefits, no pay, all the things, and in embedding some sort of avoidable tension between very loyal, patriotic soldiers from the military. It's just stupid. So he's saying, shame on us for making that mandated, and we're going to do what we can to resolve that. We are going to, we were in a cancel culture type thing. Hey, you're out because you didn't comply. And then, not qualified to come back. Well, no, you are qualified to come back, and we may even do some things in some situations like, back pay and, reactivate benefits, medical cares, all the things. And I think that's great because there's a lot of great, awesome patriots out there who were removed from service when that's their bread and butter, and that's what they do. And they're great at it. Over this, at least I think it's conclusive, but obviously it's not. This weird science project that failed miserably.
I don't know how you would conclude it failed miserably, but also if the World Health Organization and the CDC of the United States cleared it to go through, and the military has to do every vaccine so they can't be, get compromised. People who are insubordinate to that, whether it was the right call or not,
Yeah.
should not be in the military, I would think.
So I'm not against the hard protocol for noncompliance with existing rules, but I think it's pretty big of him to say, hey, this responsibility is on me now to rectify some very avoidable damage in the relationships of our military. I think it's cool. I think it's great.
I think if they were publicly coming out against that vaccine and saying, we made a mistake, we want to rectify that, we told you to do something that wasn't appropriate.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're kind of dancing around saying that officially, whereas I feel like it should be an official thing if they made a mandate and lost people from it.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
And so he's talking about a huge wave of culture change. He's not doing a deep dive on each one of them, and maybe that's what he's alluding to. Maybe it's already been done through other means that I'm just not aware of. Maybe it's more directly in with those people that fall into that criteria.
We've done our best to thoroughly assess the human terrain. We've had to make trade-offs and some difficult decisions. It's more of an art than a science. We have been and will continue to be judicious, but also expeditious. The new compass heading is clear. Out with the Shirellis, the Mackenzies, and the Millies, and in with the Stockdales, the Schwarzkopfs, and the Pattons.
I was going to say, I'm assuming those are like military names I should know.
Yeah, I guess those are generals, and I only knew the latter. I didn't know the frumpy ones.
The only one I recognized was Patton, and that's because of our father.
Well, Schwarzkopf was pretty famous. Okay, yeah. Well, that's probably right before your time. I think that's closer to when I was in high school, and you were just a baby.
Yeah, I was just...
Not a baby, but what are you... How many years younger than me?
10.
You're 10.
So I was like 8.
Yeah, you're like a decade.
I was watching
shy.
Jim and the Holograms.
Okay.
But if the words I'm speaking today are making your heart sink, then you should do the honorable thing and resign. We would thank.
Or not join in the first place, like me.
Yeah, no, he's talking to his audience.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a stack of admirals and generals.
Yeah.
And he's saying, this is the guidance. This is where I'm steering the ship. If you're not on board, get off board. Resign. Retire. So he's talking to the most senior people in all these organizations.
I was just thinking, and in 5 years, if they look back on this and think these were bad mandates because we should have been more woke, then all these people he's going to have to do back pay and rehire and apologize. Continue.
Touche.
Who knows?
Thank you for your service. But I suspect, I know, the overwhelming majority of you feel the opposite.
That's right.
These words make your hearts full.
Yes.
You love the War Department because you love what you do, the profession of arms. You are hereby liberated to be an apolitical, hard-charging, no-nonsense, constitutional leader that you joined the military to be. It includes as well the behavior of our troops online. To that end, I want to thank and recognize the services for their new proactive social media policies. Use them. Anonymous, online, or keyboard complaining is not worthy of a warrior. It's cowardice masquerading as conscience. Anonymous, unit-level social media pages that trash commanders, demoralize troops, and undermine unit cohesion must not be tolerated.
That's a cool push in the right direction. I think our culture has gotten to where, like I said, the victim mentality, and everybody has become a troll. Like even on our feed, on social media, it's like the trolls just come out of the woodwork, and they like to throw stones. And it's like, I dare say most of the things that people say have like very, very low to no filter, and it's just something hateful, and they're just throwing a stone, and they have zero conscience about it. They don't have any concern. It dehumanizes them, and they just want to attack. They just want to throw a stone and make a hit, and they feel good about it. They don't feel any shame, any remorse, they don't think anything of it. And he's saying, listen, if you have an issue, don't be an anonymous troll that just goes and defames or social media shames somebody in leadership. No, go to them in private and say, hey, here's my point of contention, and work it out. Figure it out. Work it out like a human being with respect and honor. And I think it's fantastic. It's fantastic guidance.
I think there should be some anonymous ways to report stuff just for retaliation purposes, because especially if something can't be handled immediately, then I'm working under a boss who knows I just accused him of child pornography or whatever. And I know they have to do an investigation. It's going to take 4 months, and this is going to be really awkward during that time. So there should be some things that you can report anonymously, but it should be through proper channels, not just trolling on the internet and bitching with other people in your unit or whatever on Discord.
Yeah. I think there's probably definitely cases where it warrants the need for
anonymity.
Such. Yes. However, when you open that door, I think there's some people who will say any and every situation warrants whatever that word is, anonymity, which prevents achieving what he's trying to work it out, have a conversation, and because when you do it through anonymous, there is no dialogue. It's all, I'm throwing rocks. You don't even know who threw the rocks, and there's no fact finding. There's no way to fact find, to understand the situation better, to see where things went awry, and to make corrective actions. So it doesn't.
I feel like that's on the HR department or whoever is taking the complaint.
Yeah.
It's on them to do the fact finding and determine, was this a malicious attempt at trying to take this guy down a peg?
Yeah.
Or was this a legitimate concern that we found out wasn't based fully in reality?
Yeah. So my rub is there's some people who will say, because they're an authority figure, a supervisor, whatever you call them, it warrants for me to be anonymous for retaliation. But if they've never shown any sign of retaliation, give them the benefit of the doubt and try to work it out as adults. I don't know.
I think that should be the default, but I do see the need for exception. The option for exceptions.
Yeah. I could see me. Not that he's made this call, but I could see me, with the pendulum. Hey, no, we're not doing that anymore. Y'all broke it, so we're not using that system anymore. And I would go all the way to the right. You gotta work months
And then 3 months later, like, okay, we do need one reason to just nail this.
Probably so.
Yeah. Something that someone told me when I used to work in a call center, their favorite thing to do whenever they had a problem with their supervisor was to write an email explaining the problem in detail in the specific instance and the time and date it happened, and what they thought went wrong, what they thought could have been better by their supervisor, and send it to their supervisor, their supervisor's supervisor, that supervisor's supervisor, and HR. So whenever they had an issue, they would send it to everybody, so no one can stick their head in the sand and act like they didn't know it was a problem and we didn't need to address it.
Dang.
And I kind of like that because it holds everybody accountable and it keeps everything out in the open. I think sunlight is the best disinfectant.
Wow, you're a rare bird. I agree. Jesus said the same thing.
He said sunlight's the best disinfectant.
More
or less.
I think he may have said that in like the Message version of the Bible, which is a very modern, loose lingo, kind of street style.
YOLO, unless you're Christ.
Pretty much. But yeah, he said that men love darkness rather than light, and their deeds are evil, and how they run from the light. But I totally agree. Shining light and exposing the wrong way, that's the only way to correct it. You can't fix it unless you know it's broke. So.
And it was good for them because it had a paper trail of I notified, 3 to 4 people above me where they were aware there was a problem and they should have addressed there was a problem or done deep diving to prove to me there wasn't a problem or a misunderstanding of circumstances.
Yeah, I think that's okay.
Because if they got fired for retaliation, then they were like, nope, this is why I got fired. I just told these people and...
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a good protocol for what you're talking about. I do like how this is what transpired. This was what went wrong. Here's what I think would have been better.
Yeah.
To do that forethought, to...
this is my expectation of how the manager should have acted or whatever.
That's healthy. That's healthy. So, interesting.
Yeah.
I like your idea. Good idea.
It wasn't mine, but I forgot who told it to me. And then ever since then, I was like, I'm not petty enough, and I don't get discriminated against really ever. So whenever someone's doing something versus me, I just can call it out in a funny way, and then I don't pay attention to them anymore. They quit bugging me. I was like, man, I'll never have to do that. But if I did, the email chain of all of these superiors.
Train and we must maintain. Any moment that we are not training on our mission or maintaining our equipment is a moment we are less prepared for preventing or winning the next war. That is why today, at my direction, we are drastically reducing the ridiculous amount of mandatory training that individuals and units must execute.
Any minute we're not training, then we're setting up for failure. That's why we're getting rid of all the training we have to do. I feel like you should have more,
No, so you're just not familiar. Military and government civilians and Department of War contractors all have to do a gambit of mandatory annual training, and it's just redundant, continual. To me, I think of stuff like sharp training, sexual harassment.
Those are always fun.
Well, you're making the entire army, the entire unit go through this when it's Bob. Bob is the loser who doesn't know how to engage with another person of the opposite sex.
I feel like for the annual training, you should have a questionnaire that goes along with your annual evaluation raise, and it's like 30 questions, and they're trick questions. And then depending on how you answer those, do you have to do sharp training?
Yeah.
Because you didn't understand that Bertha at age 80 should not be told, get out of here, Gramps, whatever, whatever.
Well, they'll just learn the system and then...
Well, that's what I'm saying. You got to kind of make them trick questions.
Yeah.
But that way, if you didn't get it right, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
You got 72%. You got to do the sharp training.
Yeah. Anyway, I think a reduction in some of this training, going back and go, hey, is this really warranted and is it value added to the masses is long overdue. So kudos.
That's fair.
Kudos.
We will not lose warfighters because we failed to train or equip them or resource them. Shame on us if we do. Train like your warriors' lives depend on it.
So, very small thing. In cults, one of the things they do is have specific terminology, and they tweak terminology to be personalized to the group so that we use these phrases and these terms, and this is a name that we use a lot, and they do it to homogenize thinking and to indoctrinate and people to fall in line. Like, now I use this terminology, and when I use it I feel safe because it's part of the group. So whenever he uses the new term war fighters in Department of War, I feel like he's starting a cult. Because I don't know why we're changing the name other than I think it sounds cooler and we're going to do this sort of mentality. So this is the branding and I'm going to keep, ramming
Yeah.
on the... So every time I hear Warfighter or Department of War, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, cult.
So my quick comment is that may be practice that is known to work in a cult. Not everything that's done in a cult is bad or evil. If it's a cult of humans, they probably breathe oxygen. That doesn't mean breathing oxygen is bad or evil. It's just so there may be a technique to create homogenous thinking, unity. That's teamwork makes the dream work. If he's talking about uniting, he said diversity is not our strength, unity is. He's wanting to unite, so that is his agenda. So he's going to use all tactics that are known with humanity to do that. So that's not just because that's synonymous with an activity in a cult makes this bad or evil. So yeah. And
I just clock it every time.
Okay. Well, it's good to have red flags and associate things and be cautious.
And for the record, the military is a cult. Like the way they indoctrinate and train soldiers, they do a lot of the same cult practices too.
Well, that's what I just said.
Yeah.
So I just addressed that.
Because they do. To that point, basic training is being restored to what it should be. Scary, tough, and disciplined. We're empowering drill sergeants to instill healthy fear in new recruits, ensuring that future warfighters are forged. Yes, they can shark attack, they can toss bunks, they can swear, and yes, they can put their hands on recruits.
Do you know what shark attack means?
Actually, no. Yeah.
That's a wild term.
Yeah, it sounds. It sounds.
I know toss
sounds
bunks
pretty
is
vicious.
just flipping the mattress and making sure they don't have personal paraphernalia or whatever that they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Yeah, shark attack.
This does not mean they can be reckless or violate the law, but they can use tried and true methods to motivate new recruits to make them.
So, if anybody in the audience knows what a shark attack is, let us know. I mean, visually, it sounds like a shark swims in and attacks. So maybe it's kind of like a few good men.
You know what I think it could be?
What?
Sharks go after blood.
Yeah.
They smell in the water.
Yeah.
So if just like in prison, you got to find somebody and beat them up to show that you're not weak. If you're the commander of a military unit, you got to find the weakest person and just destroy them so that everyone knows you have the power and you don't want that to be you.
Yeah.
We all need to stiffen up so that we're not Hank.
Yeah.
I think if you smell blood in the water, the shark attack is going after the weakest person. That's my guess.
Makes sense.
Tell me in the comments.
Yeah,
I'll look it up.
somebody
I need to
knows.
write it down to look it up eventually.
If somebody knows, let us know. And I thought he would do better in this explaining why the name changed to Department of War. I think I saw in it was Pete Hegseth. He explained the whole dynamic of that, but I guess it's just not in this speech, so that's something we can look up later.
There's a few minutes more there. It might still be here.
Especially because the next war, like the last, will likely not have a rear area. Finally, as President Trump rightly pointed out when he changed the department name, the United States has not won a major theater war since the name was changed to the Department of Defense in 1947. We fight to win. We unleash overwhelming and punishing violence on the enemy. We also don't fight with stupid rules of engagement. We untie the hands of our warfighters to intimidate, demoralize, hunt, and kill the enemies of our country. No more politically correct and overbearing rules of engagement. Just common sense, maximum lethality, and authority for warfighters.
We've talked about that. I disagree about that because I am very pro us not being evil.
I think I'm very against us being evil. Did you hear him say be evil?
He said we're going to take away like war crimes and we're going to be as lethal and intimidating, but that also allows for torture and dehumanizing actions and stuff. We shouldn't be the Gestapo to fight the Gestapo.
Yeah. Sounds complicated. I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to lower yourself to the level of your enemy. You still want to be humane.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, having that lethality, if they know you will come at them with full fury, is a deterrent, and it is an effective deterrent. So, I don't know. It's hard being in his position.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I'd want that job.
We are warriors. We are purpose-built, not for fair weather, blue skies, or calm seas. We were built to load up in the back of helicopters, 5 tons, or Zodiacs, in the dead of night, in fair weather or foul, to go to dangerous places, to find those who would do our nation harm, and deliver justice on behalf of the American people in close and brutal combat, if necessary.
He said, who would do our nation harm? I don't think we should be doing Minority Report thought crimes. Who are actively plotting or attempting to do us harm.
Yeah.
They don't have to have been successful yet necessarily, but we do need to have a paper trail of some kind.
Yeah. Well,
Again, it's just word choice, and I know he's trying to...
no. Well, I mean, technically, I think he's still accurate. I'm trying to, understand his point of view. He gets intelligence. So he finds out information. If they are plotting a 9/11 and there's evidence that shows, hey, this looks like this is going to go down on X date, they may not have done anything wrong yet.
Yeah.
But he knows that they will.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. The word choice is just a little
So
smushy for my taste.
It kind of is a Minority Report. He just doesn't have three unclothed ladies in a hot tub doing telepathy and cerebral forecasts.
That we know of.
That we know of.
Move out and draw fire, because we are the War Department. Godspeed.
I thought it was a very well presented speech. To say that's unscripted is just mind blowing to me. I thought he was so articulate and so comprehensive, so thorough on a vast array of points. He didn't seem to stutter. He didn't seem to jump around. It seemed like he went in a very structured order. He's a gifted speaker, or they had teleprompters all over the room for him to read. Anyway, I thought it was a good movement in the right direction. Your thoughts?
In general, I am not against what he's saying as far as I understand that's how the military has to work.
You do not represent the left. You sound way too reasonable and accommodating.
You'd be surprised.
Well, you need a pitchfork and you need to be yelling.
No, I just understand how the military works, which I'm very...
Okay.
I can be ruthless in my logic, so I understand that extreme existing. Our favorite quote, when fighting monsters, be sure not to become one.
Yeah.
I still think we need to have...
Who says that?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good quote.
I think we should always make sure we have the moral superiority in the situation, or as much as possible, so that we can feel good in our decision of when we're having to take action. We know we did it because we had to, and not muddy the waters to where people are questioning our intentions or our goals.
Yeah. It's just a hard situation because, and I think we've talked about this before, but a lot of times, like to me, I can't help. This was done September 30th of 2025. Since then, we've had all these boats, coming across into America that, fishermen boats, but we've identified them as where they're smuggling drugs into our country. This seems like an example of what they're talking about: lethality, not doing something that's hard and difficult just to check the box or to make sure we're clean. They got intelligence and they acted on it to safeguard America, not just to save face, not just to remove ridicule of how they're doing it, but to make sure we were safe. Period. So I feel you. Hey, I wish we had more evidence of how that that these are there's actually drugs on these boats, or these people are coming from for nefarious reasons. But a lot of times they just can't share that information. They can't scratch that itch. So it does require a little bit of faith in their process and their means to which they act on intelligence. But at the same time, it's do you put faith in that? If you turn a blind eye to that over time, there's so much potential for abuse of power in that. So it's a hard it's a hard position to be in, to do it perfectly right.
Mm-hmm.
Weird.
I'm curious how many people will quit because he went anti-woke, that they'll have to give their jobs back and back pay.
You talking about
in 5 years, once they're like, all right, we messed
Trump,
up.
After the Trump administration hands the baton off. And who knows? It may stay with the Republican Party with J.D. Vance. It could be, somebody on the left. Who knows? We'll see. Look forward to it.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Okay. All right. We covered a lot of ground today. I think that's a wrap.
I think we shared our views, we listened, we learned, and we're better for it.
That's right. And people are more important than politics, my friends. Let's act like it. Sis, well done. I love you.
Love you too, brother.
Okay.